Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, I do want to talk about Xavi Hernandez and basically what could be happening within the January transfer window, because there has been talks about basically Xavi Hernandez potentially wanting to bring in new players in this upcoming January transfer window. But look, we're going to be taking off our foot off the pedal on the whole Xavi news, right? When it comes to him being the coach of Barcelona and what he could be doing with this club, what are going to be his tactics, his way of playing, we're going to be stepping away from that just for a moment in this video, because what I do want to be focusing on is going to be revolving around Xavi Hernandez. Like I have said, it is going to be about the January transfer window. He has talked about before during that press conference on how Barcelona are currently discussing the transfer market and how that transfer market that is coming up within about 2 months, it could strengthen this team. So we are going to be talking about Trincao, Dani Alves. So again, all of this is going to be discussed within today's video, but let's first talk about Francisco Trincao, because it does say here Xavi wants Trincao back in January. Barcelona will have to convince Wolves, who paid 6 million euros for his loan, and the coach thinks that Trincao is developing very well at the English side but needs him for his project. And so I am not surprised to hear this, to know that Xavi does want a player like Trincao, because he has said before that he wants wide wingers. He wants wingers who are very efficient, who can score, who can bring assists, who has very high work rate. And so just thinking about this, right, to know that this player could come back to Barcelona, this whole thing just feels like a mess, right? Because we did just loan out Trincao to Wolves a couple of months ago. Demir was supposed to be that player that was supposed to be counted on to play in the right wing role, but he has not even been used. As a matter of fact, the one player that has been counted on to take on that right wing position besides Dembele, it has been Serginho Dest. And so we moved on from Demir. We sold Conrad de la Fuente. We loaned out Trincao, and now we're over here trying to use Serginho Dest as our right winger. And now we're going back to Trincao, who could be one of Xavi's solutions towards that right wing position. So we're going back and forth within this club. But here's also another thing that I do want to point out. Every time a report like this does come out, I always wait for this report to evolve, to see whether this report changes or not, to see whether this report is true or not. Because about 3 to 4 hours later, now we have another report coming from Javi Miguel, who has stated that Trincao's return in January for now hasn't been considered so far. So you can see that these two reports that I have brought up, they do contradict each other. So it is unknown on whether Xavi does stand with Trincao, yes or no. But here's the thing, this is going to be the conversation that I do want to have. Let's just say that Xavi actually wants to bring in Trincao. Barcelona is working hard to bring in that player, and they're going to be having discussions with Wolves in the January transfer market. I think that Francisco Trincao does have the football necessary to be a very successful player in Barcelona. His work rate is also something that we should admire, and so he does have some things to improve on, which would be his shooting. But overall, this is a great footballer that has the capacity to grow. And I also do want to show you guys a chart of Trincao to see where he does stand in terms of shot creating actions through dribbles per 90. We can see here that Trincao is actually one of the best in terms of shot creating actions through dribbles per 90, and he is almost right next to Salah, who is probably the best player in the Premier League right now. The fact that Trincao is just right next to him and is probably second best in terms of shot creating actions through dribbles, it just really shows you on what Trincao could do if he was much more lethal, because it is quite clear that Salah is much more lethal, more confident, more capable of scoring goals compared to Trincao. Salah is literally just a improved version of this player, because if we were to look at the goals that these two players do have, Trincao has 1 goal and Salah has 15 goals and 7 assists. So there is no comparison between these two players. Just to know that Trincao moves in the exact same way just like Salah, it shows you the ceiling that he does have. Another thing that we should take note of is going to be Trincao's involvement with Wolves. He has played a total of 9 games out of the 13 that Wolves have played in all competitive competition. And so right now he is in that phase where he needs to adjust with Wolves, and especially when you know that Wolves have a brand new coach, because Nuno did leave Wolves a couple of months ago. And so as of now, we are in that gray area on whether we should bring in Trincao or not. I do believe that there is going to be discussions, and one of the big factors on trying to decide on whether we should bring in Trincao or not, it is going to be coming down to Yusuf Demir. Can Demir actually be that right winger that Xavi does want? What if he does end up playing extremely well? But also, let's say that Trincao actually gets chosen to return, I do think that he can work very well with Xavi Hernandez. If Xavi can make Trincao much more lethal and more confident inside the box and score goals, we could see a very dangerous player in Barcelona. Now let's move on towards the next topic of today, and I do want to talk about Dani Alves. There has been many reports, ladies and gentlemen, that Alves might actually return back to Barcelona, and this excites many Barcelona fans, because to know that Alves could come back to Barcelona is like the nostalgia is hitting us, and it's going to bring back so many memories. And so we do have many reports coming from Spain, campaign saying this: the return of Dani Alves will have to require the approval of Xavi other than the club, who are still studying the possibility. In some sectors of the club, the option of Dani Alves returning is liked a lot, and in some, not so much. Then we do have other reports coming from Siki Rodriguez and Adria Alves that from the club, they say that it is true. Dani Alves has offered himself and instantly too, but they also say it is currently more of an issue talked about in the media rather than in real life. The club is studying all options. He is valued within the club, but no decision has been made yet. It is conditioned by the financial limitations. So, like as you can see here, there has been maybe around 4 or 5 reports, different Spanish reporters basically saying that Barcelona do like Dani Alves a lot. They like the idea of bringing back this player. Now, why could that be the case? I do expect it to be because of the experience that he brings, the presence that he might have in the dressing room, and most importantly, Alves can be that player that can teach a player like Serginho Dest to become the best right back in the world, to know how to attack, to know how to defend, to know when to make those runs. It would be very interesting. And Alves has also expressed many times on his desire to return back to this club and to retire at Barcelona, because that is what he has wanted throughout his whole career, was to retire at Barcelona. The only reason why he left back in 2016, it is because of the tensions that he had with the new board, and that things were just not going to end well between Alves and the new board. And then only to find out that for Barcelona, in Barcelona's perspective, that was probably their biggest mistake, because we brought Semedo right after thinking that he was going to be the next Dani Alves, and then 3 years later we saw Semedo actually become a huge failure for Barcelona, and we saw Alves be a baller with the Brazilian national team back in that Copa America in 2019, and many of us were asking, man, why did we let go of Dani Alves? Like, I remember that. I remember when Alves was punking the Argentinian national team in that Copa America. But look, in the end, this is a good move. It's really going to be depending on the role that Alves is going to be getting. Like, for example, if you're telling me that Alves is going to come back to Barcelona to be a starter, then we're going to be having a different conversation. Then I would say, no, I would not think that that is the best idea. But knowing what Barcelona want to do with this player, I would say that it would be a great move, because we know that the club would love his return due to his presence, his experience, and we would also love Alves's return overall. I do not know what Xavi Hernandez is thinking as of yet with this FC Barcelona club. We do not know his ideas, but whatever does happen moving forward within these next 3 or 4 weeks, we are going to be talking about it here in this YouTube channel. That is going to be wrapping up today's Barcelona daily news. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys are new here, welcome to the channel. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys in the next video.